declaring the winner by TKO, Dustin the Diamond Poirier.
Dustin Poirier has been at the top of the world recently. With his recent victory against Conor McGregor during UFC 264, people are now wondering what he's going to do next. The fighter is already at an all-time high, but will he keep it up? On today's list, we'll be going over what's next for Dustin Poirier. You won't want to miss this list. But before we get into the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you don't miss any of the new videos that we post. Now onto the list. First up, upping his skills. Since his recent fight with Conor McGregor, Poirier has shown his amazing skills in the ring. Even though the fight was stopped early, he's shown just how good he was against Conor McGregor. Even for the second time, the fighter knew what he was doing against him and easily could have actually won the fight if it went on for longer. So since the fight, he could be trying to up his skills even further to completely shut down his next opponent. So you know he's training hard for his next title fight. This fighter could be on another level in the next few months. Next up, Poirier versus UFC lightweight champion Charles Oliveira. Even prior to the recent third fight between Dustin and Conor, it was thought that the winner of the bout would move on to challenge Oliveira for the lightweight title. And since Dustin beat Conor in the recent fight, it seems like Dustin is just waiting on a date to be set for his next match. Both fighters are very much up for the fight and just want to get in the ring with each other. This fight could even be more legendary than the Conor McGregor fight for Dustin, as he could win a title and show off his skills. Next up, no beef between Poirier and Oliveira. These two will most likely get into the ring with each other in the near future, but in terms of build-up, there really isn't anything. These two respect each other heavily and just want to see what each other will do. They don't hate each other, and they're just respectful of their careers and their goals. Dustin said before his fight with Conor for the third time that he's a guy who has picked himself up off the canvas time and time again, fought through adversity in 2 weight classes, been in the UFC a decade. Dustin really has respect for Oliveira and just wants to see what he can bring to the table. Next up, Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor IV. It's an understatement to say that the Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier third fight ended poorly and without a real winner. Yeah, the Diamond technically won the fight as McGregor was taken out by TKO due to a leg injury, but both fighters recognize that the battle isn't over. They want another rematch and so many people are up for it. Once McGregor is completely healed, he can begin training again. This will allow him to be up to standard for another fight between the two at some point in the future. If all goes well, this could even be bigger than the previous one. Who knows? Next up, what does Dana White think about the fourth fight? Even President Dana White, who runs the UFC, wants this fourth fight to happen. It's obviously because he'll bring in loads of money, but we'll also see the two fight for a final time. They should be able to finally see what each other can do and have a fair fight without anything badly happening. If Dana White wants something to happen, it'll most likely happen. This fight will probably take place in the early months of 2020, and it's a bit too early for Conor to step back into the ring with that injury, and Dustin has other fights on the horizon. Next up is possible break. With all this talk about more fights on the horizon, Dustin could take a short break from the sport. We aren't saying he's going to be off for a year or so. It would just be likely for him to take a break for a few months before another fight is secured. It's not healthy for your mental state to be in fighting mode all the time, so he needs to simmer down and take a break. We see this all the time with big fighters as the world takes a toll on them. Hopefully Dustin can get a good break in before his next fight is secured. We really need to see him be a better fighter to beat McGregor properly again. Next up, Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler. Another possible route we can see Dustin take is to fight Michael Chandler. This was a pick for many if he lost to McGregor, but it's still a good fight for the athlete. The former Bellator champion is confident that he'll be fighting a top-ranked lightweight for his next bout, and there are high chances that Dustin might take up the fight and they can meet in the octagon in the next few months or so. This would be a very interesting fight between the two, as they both will have a lot to lose if they fail. Next up, next title fight. To even get the fight that was the Conor McGregor trilogy fight, Dustin Poirier had to pass up on a title fight with another fighter. According to Dana White, this is a very smart decision for a fighter, as he could battle his nemesis for a third time and make even more money. The fight between him and Conor also hyped Dustin's next fight, as more people want to see Dustin get into the octagon as soon as possible. Dustin's next title fight could break the internet and could be one of the biggest fights in the past 2 years for anyone in his weight class. Next up is beef with Conor McGregor. The beef between these two have been insane, but it even got better with Conor's recent loss to Dustin. Dustin is now at the top of the world and the one who runs the battle between the two. If the fourth fight between them does happen, Dustin is going to be winning the game of words. These two are going to be battling it out for ages now, and it's going to propel them further into stardom. Dustin's next fight is going to be an important one, and if it's another bout with McGregor himself, it's going to be insane. And finally, we have a bright future ahead. Dustin has said multiple times since his recent bout with Conor McGregor McGregor that he has a bright future ahead. Both Dustin and Boss Dana White have said this on multiple occasions, showing how sure they're about the fighter. Dustin has so many options for his next fight, and it could go anyway. We could be seeing him fight a few different people, but at the end of the day, Dustin Poirier is going to be a huge fighter. He'll be someone loads of people want to take on. Dustin could be the next superstar fighter if all goes well for him. And that's our list. One can make the case that if McGregor didn't suffer a left leg fracture, that Dustin was well on his way to winning their trilogy fight at UFC 264 this past weekend anyway. Two judges gave him 10 and 8 rounds. Let's not forget the heavy elbows and punches that Poirier was pummeling McGregor with after the Irish fighter ill-advisedly went for a jumping guillotine in that first round. I thought only knockouts count. Still, McGregor's cleanly broken tibia prevented the trilogy from entering a second round, where Poirier was hell-bent on further punctuating his dominance over his rival. Nevertheless, UFC 264 will go down as Poirier winning the trilogy fight via first-round TKO due to doctor stoppage. The fight between the two was something to behold, even if it didn't end as planned for either of the fighters. Dejected due to his fractured leg, McGregor sat in the octagon and still had the presence in mind to bellow, "This is not over." He followed that with, "Your wife sent me DMs," in a TARDIS fashion. Despite having his hand raised at the first round TKO due to doctor stoppage, Poirier didn't feel like he got the closure he needed from that trilogy fight. That plus growing dislike between the two is what prompted Poirier to say, "We're gonna fight again, whether it's in the octagon or on the sidewalk." During the UFC 264 post-fight press conference, he added, "It sucks, man, because I was gonna beat the guy if his legs would have held up." It seems the main thing on Dustin's mind right now, outside of a title fight, would be to beat McGregor in another fight. They both seem adamant on it happening in one shape or another. Hopefully, we see this in the near future, as hype for the event is at an all-time high. Hopefully you enjoyed the list. We hope you comment down below what you thought about it. Also, let us know what you want to see Dustin do next. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe with notifications on. Thanks for watching.